Hello everyone, this is Jordan. Welcome back to the Daily Gold YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. In this video, we're going to recap the week in precious metals. And it was a week where we saw the correction going on really intensifying. So it was an ugly week for precious metals. Let me give you the figures. Silver was down 3.5% on the week. Gold, of course, held up the best, down about 1% on the week. GDX down 5% on the week. GDXJ down 6% on the week. SILJ, the silver juniors, was down 7% on the week. So ugly week. I don't think the correction's over as far as price and time. It's probably getting close in terms of price, but probably has more to go in terms of time. The miners are getting really oversold. So enough babbling for me. Let's get to the charts. Okay, as always, we're starting off here with the daily candle charts for gold and silver. Gold up top, silver at the bottom. Gold, we're looking at moving averages. Blue here, 150-day. This other one, the 200-day moving average. That's coming in 2481. You can round that up and say 82. So that is going to intersect 2500 in the next couple of weeks into January. The net spec position, I think about minus 285 right now, but that was as of Tuesday, so it's probably lower in reality. So gold sold off here, kind of got oversold near the end of the week. So big bounce today, up almost 1.5% today. It did come down here to 2600, where we've noted here very strong support around 2550. That's where this low came in. So the buyers, or the bulls, I should say, they regained control before 2550. But so it did close at 2645. There's stiff short-term resistance here at 2700. So I think if we see in the short term any strength that rallies back into this area, you're probably going to see more selling. And then who knows after that? Are we going to see kind of sideways action, or will this come down and break this low and test the 200-day at some point? I mean, that's also the playbook. So that's where we are with respect to gold. Given the strength, I would guess you get a little more strength next week, but again, be wary of the stiff resistance at 2700. And just a reality with a lot of these corrections, they can take lots of time. So this type of price action here, I know people are kind of quick to draw triangles, and I just think we have to let it play out. I mean, if you go back and you look at a lot of periods in gold and silver, bullish periods, larger bullish periods, when they have these corrections and the correction is sustained, it can evolve over a couple months or over 3, 4, even 5 months in some cases. We just have to let this thing play out, for lack of fewer words. And probably similar thing with respect to silver, and we're seeing more technical damage in silver, of course. So silver came down, and it did test 29, which is the monthly support level. We've been talking about that. Did bounce today. It did go below the support level of 30. So again, maybe we see a little pop next week, back up to 30, 31 perhaps. But again, there's going to be really stiff resistance right around here at 32 and below it. I want to get to the weekly chart, but this is the 200-day. So silver actually came down. It broke the 200-day. So this level, 28, 29, if silver were to lose that, then you're looking at a full-blown retest of the breakout at 26. So let's get to the weekly. And I want to look at silver because I put in the equivalent to the 400-day moving average here. So in weekly terms, it's the 82 weeks. So just a tip out there, when you're looking at the 200-day and the market is coming down and it looks weak, like it's going to lose the 200-day, also look at the 400-day moving average. This is actually what I did my master's thesis on, which earned me that MFTA designation. Not to scratch my own back here, but I did basically a thesis, and I proved that the 400-day as a sell signal is actually more significant than the 200-day in a number of different markets. But back to the video. I mean, the point is, look at the 400-day here. We can see this was good support before gold broke out and it carried silver higher. So I don't have the 200-day in here, but this is the 400-day, and so we can see this is coming up. Maybe this comes up and maybe this can hit 28 late January or so. But so here we are at 30, this level here. Silver did manage to bounce above 30, or excuse me, this is 29 here. I'm sorry. So this level is 29. and silver traded down there intra-week, but it bounced, closed. We can round up and say 30. This is not quite a bullish hammer. I mean, it's kind of a bullish hammer, but it's really not that bullish. And again, you have stiff resistance here at 32. So not a lot of room to rally. Same thing when we're looking at the weekly in terms of gold. Like, this is really not, this just tells me this correction needs more time. More time, more so than needing to go lower. I mean, here's the 200-day equivalent here. So we'll see. I mean, it can go lower, but I hope you get my drift that, corrections are a function of price and time. And maybe we still have a lot to play out in terms of time. And this is the silver weekly line chart. And yeah, so there's a lot of support around 28. I put in 2 levels here. You can look at these highs here and also this high here. You can see this low here and this low. So ultimately, it looks like this is where silver could test. Maybe you get a false move below 29. Remember the monthly chart where silver held 29 in terms of the monthly close in several months. So that would be interesting to see. You see the metals get even more oversold. Silver comes down. Maybe it makes a close below 29. It closes around this strong support. But that month, it rebounds and holds 29 on a monthly basis. And here we can see this is the 400-day equivalent. So this is coming up pretty close. So this could be setting up for perhaps a significant low, around here with all this support. So let me wrap things up. Let me finish by getting into the stocks. So I talked about this last week. These are my custom breadth indicators for GDXJ. So the percentage of top 30 GDXJ stocks that close above the 20-day, 50-day here, 200-day. And so these are very oversold. Like when you see these in single digits, that means the sector is going to rally. In fact, that's what we had right here, this first low and rally right there. These are really oversold. But as I mentioned last week, I want to see this baby come down closer to 25-20%. I'm a little disappointed that this is only at 45%. When I checked this and the one for GDX and the HUI, I mean, I think it's around the same level. I was a little disappointed. I was hoping to see these even more oversold. So that's a little disappointing in a medium-term sense. But what this tells us, these figures, short-term, if you're bearish or you have leveraged bear bets against the miners, you probably want to be taking profits right now. And let's finish looking at the last 5 years daily charts, so GDX, GDXJ, SILJ. And I mentioned this for GDX in past videos. This is a long-term bullish consolidation. You have resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. You have a false breakout here. I was excited about that for a week or two. But this is setting up, this is a very bullish long-term consolidation. And how I see this playing out, or how I think it could play out, is at some point this year you will see GDX explode above this resistance. I mean, that will be a super significant breakout. And at some point here, maybe in the next month, I don't know, maybe it's 3 or 4 months, you're setting up for some kind of low here where sentiment is shitty, everybody hates miners, they suck, they always go down. But it makes a low here, and then it rallies back and has a spectacular breakout. And so I think the macro for that to happen would be, the economy's looking like it's going to go into recession. The Fed has to increase the rate cuts. So now that's kind of a contrarian viewpoint right now. I tweeted about that. I will talk about this on Macro Mondays. I'm going to write about this in my premium update because I don't, talking about the macro is a whole nother macro video. But I will just repeat that. If the Fed has to cut, they have to go back and cut a lot more because the economy is weakening and it looks like recession is coming, you're going to see a huge breakout here. And at the same time, you're going to see gold explode above 3,000. So that's really what's needed. If the Fed, now if they can go on hold for most of the year, like 6 or 9 months, that's not going to be a good thing for precious metals. They'll, do nothing, correct and consolidate for the most part. But I think it's more likely than not that the economy is weakening and they are going to have to cut more than the market thinks right now. Now looking at, I got off track. Here's GDXJ. Here's the 400-day for GDXJ. So it's coming here at 40. This is strong support. I've outlined this in past videos. 42.5. So a little bit more for GDXJ to go. SILJ, this is really good support here. It's right at the 400 day. Really good support here, a little bit below. But I pointed out in the last video, if you're looking at the breadth indicators, juniors are really oversold on a 20 and 50 day basis. Now, we're not that oversold on a 200 day basis. And when we get that, it's like a full blown buy signal. So now I would say we have a short term buy signal. And, or you could just hold, you could stand pat and wait a while and see if, we test these support levels, which, gun to my head, I think that'll happen more likely than not. But again, we could get a short term rebound here. So that's enough for me. I know it was a tough week. I hope you guys had a great week nonetheless. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think. How are you feeling? How's your own sentiment? And I'll just tell you with sentiment, I mean, guys, if you follow me, usually when my sentiment's the absolute worst, we're coming into a real significant bottom. So we're not there yet. I'm not quite there yet. But maybe at some point. I hope it's sooner rather than later. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And I'll talk to you guys again in the next video for Macro Mondays. We'll talk about the macro outlook for 2025 with respect to precious metals. Thank you. And again, have a great weekend.